You are listening to Dear English Radio. I'm Maya.
And I'm Daniel. Welcome to the station, wherever you're listening tonight.
If thoughtful English stories and practical lessons help you, subscribe and stay tuned. We have a new listener letter on the desk, and it begins with a sentence we hear all the time.
The letter is from Nina. She writes, I can read an English sentence and understand every word, but when I hear the same sentence, it disappears.
She says, I listen to English for at least an hour every day. I play podcasts while I cook. I watch television with English subtitles. I have done this for almost a year, but normal conversation still feels too fast.
When an English teacher speaks, I understand. When two people speak to each other, I lose the meaning. Should I listen for more hours? Should I turn subtitles off? Or am I simply bad at listening?
Nina, you are not bad at listening. You may be asking one practice method to do several different jobs.
And more hours will not automatically solve that problem. We screened more than 100 YouTube results about English listening. Then, we studied 9 useful high-view examples more closely.
Some had millions of views. One had more than 30 million. That tells us the problem is common. It does not prove that every piece of advice is correct.
So, we compare the teacher's shared advice with listening research, classroom resources, and learner comments.
Tonight, we will answer 4 practical questions. Why do known words become hard to hear? What should you listen to? How should you use subtitles and transcripts? And which popular habits can waste a lot of time?
At the end, we will give Nina a 7-day listening test. No special app. No promise that she will understand every movie next week. Just a method she can repeat and measure.
Daniel, let's begin with Nina's strange experience. She knows the sentence on paper. Why can't she hear it?
There are at least 2 different problems. The first is a language problem. Maybe the sentence contains a word, phrase, or grammar pattern she does not know.
If the phrase is new, her ears cannot create knowledge that she has never learned.
Right. The second problem is sound recognition. She knows the written language, but she does not recognize its spoken shape quickly enough.
Spoken shape?
Think about the question. Did you get a chance to look at it? On paper, the words are separate and equal. In natural speech, did you may connect. The word to may become very weak. The speaker may stress chance and look, while the smaller words pass quickly between them.
So Nina is waiting to hear 7 clean blocks, 1 block for every word.
But the speaker sends a few sound groups. English usually moves through stressed words and weaker words. Sounds can connect across word boundaries. Some sounds become shorter or less clear. Contractions also change the form. I would have may become I'd have.
A learner can know all of that in a grammar book and still miss it in real time.
Yes, because understanding and explanation is slower and more controlled. Listening happens now. The next sound arrives before you have finished thinking about the last one.
This explains a common comment under English videos. I understand the teacher, but I cannot understand regular people.
Teachers often speak directly to the camera. They may use clear sentences, helpful pauses, and familiar vocabulary. In a real conversation, people interrupt, change direction, laugh, reduce words, and refer to things both speakers already know.
Video can also give support that audio does not. You see the mouth, the room, the object, and the reaction.
Exactly. One learner may understand a video but struggle with the same topic on radio. The picture can carry part of the meaning.
How can Nina figure out which bottleneck she has?
Use a short test. Listen to one sentence without text. If you miss it, read the transcript. If the written sentence is still difficult, you have a language gap. Learn the word or grammar. If the written sentence is easy, you probably have a sound recognition gap.
And then she should listen again after reading it.
Yes. Now she knows what the sound is supposed to mean. She can notice where words connect, which part carries stress, and which words become weak.
That is already more useful than saying, "My listening is terrible."
A general judgment gives you nothing to practice. A small diagnosis gives you a next step.
Diagnosis is a formal word. Here it simply means finding the reason for the problem.
Good point, Maya. I missed that sentence is the result. I did not recognize the weak form of to is a reason you can work on.
Does Nina need to copy every reduction and speak as fast as possible?
No. Clear speech matters more than speed. Listening practice helps her recognize common sound patterns. She can also repeat useful phrases to feel the rhythm, but she does not need to hide every sound or copy one accent perfectly.
Nina's next question is what to listen to. Many learners choose a difficult news program or a fast drama because it feels like serious English.
Serious frustration, perhaps.
A very advanced form of frustration.
The useful question is not, is this made for native speakers? It is, can I follow enough meaning to learn from it?
How much is enough?
Research on vocabulary coverage gives us a helpful warning, but not one perfect number. In one study, many learners understood spoken stories at about 90% word coverage, while understanding became more stable, around 95%. The results also varied a lot between learners.
So we should not tell everyone to count words and stop at exactly 95%.
No. The study used controlled stories, and real materials are different. Use a practical test instead. On the first listen, can you identify the situation and the main point? Do you miss details rather than the whole message? When you check the text, can you understand most of what you missed?
If the answer is yes, the material may be a workable stretch.
A little beyond your comfortable level, but not far beyond it.
What if she understands every word immediately?
That can still help fluency. Easy listening helps the brain get used to known language at real speed. The material is only too easy when it no longer serves her goal.
And if she understands almost nothing?
Save it for enjoyment or future testing. Do not make it the center of daily training.
Difficulty is only one part of the choice. Interest matters too.
Yes. Popular teachers repeat this point, and it makes practical sense. If Nina enjoys cooking, travel, design, football, business, or family stories, she already has background knowledge. She can predict more, and she has a reason to return.
A learner may choose a business podcast because it looks useful, while secretly wishing to hear a mystery story.
The mystery story would probably receive more real attention.
What other features should she look for?
First, a transcript or accurate English captions. Second, a length she can manage. For focused practice, 30 to 90 seconds is enough. Third, 1 or 2 speakers she can follow. Fourth, sound that is clear enough to study. Fifth, a topic with some repeated vocabulary.
Should she use only American English, if that is her main goal?
At first, a stable main accent can reduce extra difficulty. Later, she should add other accents and ordinary conversation. The goal is not to understand only one perfect studio voice.
British Council and Cambridge English both organise listening activities by level and provide preparation, tasks, and text support. That structure is useful even if Nina chooses material from somewhere else.
She can create the same structure herself. Prepare, listen, check, and respond.
Let's make the selection test easy to remember.
Ask 5 questions. Am I interested? Can I catch the main idea? Is the missing part small enough to study? Can I check an English transcript? Can I use this material again without hating it tomorrow?
The final question may be the most scientific.
It has not yet appeared in a famous research scale, but it may save many study plans.
We have chosen a short piece of audio. What should Nina do with it?
She needs a purpose for each listen. A study of 106 language learners compared two groups. Both groups heard the same texts the same number of times. One group also used a guided process: prediction, planning, checking their understanding, finding problems, and reviewing what worked.
And that group improved more.
Yes. A later review brought together 45 studies and 51 independent samples. It found a medium positive effect for listening strategy instruction overall. The results were not identical in every study, but the pattern supports guided practice.
In plain English, listen again is not a complete instruction.
Exactly. Here is our 7-step loop for a passage between 30 and 90 seconds.
Step 1. Predict.
Look at the title, speaker, place, or one picture. Ask what you may hear. Prediction prepares useful words and ideas, but it is not a test. You are allowed to be wrong.
Step 2. Listen once without text for the main idea.
Do not pause after every sentence. Ask, who is speaking? What is happening? What is the main message?
Step 3. Listen again and locate the gaps.
Mark a time or write a few sounds you heard. Do not write the whole passage. Find the exact moment where the meaning breaks.
Step 4. Check the English transcript or captions.
Compare sound with text. Was there an unknown phrase? A familiar word in an unfamiliar sound shape? A connected boundary? A name? Or did your attention simply move away?
Step 5. Notice one or two useful details.
Perhaps a weak word, a stressed word, a phrase, or the way a speaker joins two words. Keep the target small.
Step 6. Close the text and listen again.
This return to sound is essential. If you finish with the transcript open, you may remember the reading experience more than the listening experience.
Step 7. Retell or respond.
Say 2 or 3 sentences about what you heard. Use your own words. If the audio asks a question, answer it. If it tells a story, explain the main event.
Let's demonstrate with an original message from our imaginary station manager.
I hope this is not about the broken coffee machine.
Listen once. The repair company was going to arrive before lunch, but their van broke down. They'll come by at about 3, so please use the small coffee maker in the front office.
I heard bad news, followed by slightly smaller bad news.
What is the main idea?
The repair is delayed until around 3 because the company's van broke down. We should use another coffee maker.
Good. Which parts might disappear for a learner?
Was going to arrive is a long verb group. Their van can connect at the word boundary. In come by at about 3, several small words move quickly before the stressed word 3.
Now imagine Nina Miss broke down. She checks the transcript and learns that it means the van stopped working.
Then she listens again without text and retells the message. She does not need to copy every word.
That last point matters. Listening is not always dictation.
Short transcription can be useful when the problem is sound recognition. Writing 10 or 15 seconds word for word forces careful attention. Writing an entire 40-minute podcast every day may turn one useful tool into a punishment.
What about shadowing?
Repeating very close behind a speaker can help some learners notice timing and sound. Use a short, understood sentence. First, understand it, then repeat it. Do not chase a fast recording while meaning disappears.
So our loop can include a little transcription or shadowing, but neither one is the whole method.
Correct. The loop stays focused on meaning, diagnosis, and a return to sound.
If focused listening uses only a short passage, what should Nina do with the rest of her listening time?
Use two lanes. The first is longer, easier listening. The second is short, focused listening.
Longer, easier listening is sometimes called extensive listening.
Its job is to build comfort, speed, and experience. Nina follows stories, interviews, or graded audio that she can mostly understand. She does not stop for every unknown word.
Short, focused listening is sometimes called intensive listening.
Its job is to solve a specific problem. Nina studies 30 to 90 seconds, checks the text, notices sound patterns, and listens again.
Why not use only focused practice? It sounds more powerful.
Because careful analysis is slow and tiring. A language also needs volume. You need to meet familiar words in many voices and situations. Longer listening helps the brain keep up with meaning across time.
And why not use only longer listening?
Because the same hidden gaps may remain hidden. Nina can follow the story through pictures and general knowledge while repeatedly missing the same sound pattern.
One lane gives experience, the other lane repairs weak points.
That is a useful way to say it.
What does research say about longer listening?
In one 13-week study, learners used graded readers in 3 different ways: reading only, reading while listening, or listening only. Reading while listening produced the most consistent improvement in that comparison.
That does not mean reading while listening is always the best choice for every learner.
No. It shows that easier, level-controlled material and text support can be useful over time. Nina can begin with sound and later use text, or sometimes read while listening when the goal is fluency and vocabulary support.
How might she divide 25 minutes?
She could spend 15 minutes on an easier story for meaning, then 10 minutes on one short section for focused work. On a busy day, 10 minutes plus 5 minutes is enough to keep both lanes open.
Does background listening belong in the easy lane?
It can add exposure, especially with familiar material. But low attention gives less information about what Nina can truly understand. If she cooks while a podcast plays, that may be pleasant extra contact with English. It should not replace all focused listening.
So we will not call background audio useless.
And we will not count every background minute as equal to careful practice.
What should Nina measure instead of hours?
Small changes in comprehension. Could she catch the main idea on the first listen? Could she find the missing sentence more quickly? Could she listen again without text and understand it? Could she give a clearer retelling?
Those questions show whether the sound is becoming language. Let's place Nina's old routine beside the new one. Which trap should she avoid?
Trap 1. Material that is far too hard. Difficulty can feel impressive, but confusion is not a training plan.
Keep difficult movies for enjoyment. Build daily practice around material where the main meaning is available.
Trap 2. Translating word for word during the first listen.
Translation can help learning, but real-time translation is often too slow. The next sentence arrives while you are still changing the last sentence into another language.
On the first listen, follow the situation and message. Check meaning later when needed.
Trap 3. Subtitles always on.
Your eyes are very good at taking control. You may feel that you understood the audio when you actually read it. That can create subtitle dependence, which means needing the text every time.
Trap 4. Subtitles always off.
Then you may repeat the same misunderstanding for weeks. Research on same language captions generally shows benefits for listening comprehension. A smaller study with advanced learners also found promise in this order. Listen without text. Listen with a transcript. Then listen again without text.
So the useful question is not, are subtitles good or bad? It is, what job are they doing on this listen?
Exactly.
Trap 5. Blind replay.
Playing the same part 10 times without checking the problem may only repeat confusion. Give every pass a job. Main idea. Locate the gap. Check, notice, or confirm.
Trap 6. Studying every detail.
Nina does not need to collect 20 new words from a 3-minute clip. 2 useful phrases and 1 sound pattern can be enough.
Trap 7. Listening only to slow teaching English.
Clear teaching language is a helpful starting point. Add ordinary interviews, conversations, and different speakers gradually. Do not jump from a slow lesson to the fastest comedy show in one day.
Trap 8. Changing resources every week.
A familiar series gives repeated voices, topics, and vocabulary. That repeated context reduces some difficulty, so the listener can notice more language.
Trap 9. Measuring effort instead of learning.
I played English for 60 hours, describes time. It does not tell us what became easier. Keep one small recording or comprehension note each week.
There is also a trap in popular advice. The promise of one perfect method.
Yes. During our YouTube review, we rejected claims such as the only way or an exact multiplier without a checked source. Listening develops through several kinds of experience, and learners differ.
A good method should help Nina make decisions. It should not ask her to believe a slogan. Let's give Nina a plan she can begin tomorrow.
She will use one short episode, story, or interview with an English transcript. The material should be interesting and mostly understandable. She will keep the same piece for several days.
Day 1. Choose and test.
Listen once without text. Write one sentence about the main idea. If you cannot identify the situation at all, choose easier material.
Day 2. Find one gap.
Work with 30 to 90 seconds. Listen twice. Mark the exact place where meaning breaks. Then check the English text.
Day 3. Study the sound.
Choose one sentence from that gap. Notice the stressed words, the weak words, and one connection between words. Repeat it naturally 3 times. Clear, not fast.
Day 4. Return to meaning.
Close the text. Listen to the full short piece again. Give a 30-second spoken summary. Do not try to copy the original sentence by sentence.
Day 5. Change the speaker.
Listen to another person discussing the same topic or another episode from the same series. Notice what stays easy and what becomes difficult with a new voice.
Day 6. Easy volume.
Spend 15 or 20 minutes with easier English. Follow the message and enjoy it. Look up only a word that blocks the whole meaning or keeps returning.
Day 7. Test again.
Return to the first recording. Listen once without text. Compare it with day 1. Can you catch more on the first pass? Can you hear the sentence that disappeared before? Can you retell the message more easily?
If the answer is yes, Nina has evidence that her listening changed.
If the answer is no, she still has useful information. Maybe the material was too difficult. Maybe the gap was vocabulary, not sound. Maybe she needs a shorter target or more time with the same speaker.
That is much better than deciding, I have no talent for listening.
Listening is a group of skills. You can improve one small part, test it, and build from there.
Before we close, try 3 questions aloud. First, What are the two bottlenecks that can make a sentence hard to understand?
Second, why should a transcript appear in the middle of the listening loop rather than only at the beginning or not at all?
Third, what is the difference between longer, easy listening and short, focused listening?
Pause if you need time. This is not a CEFR test. It is a chance to retrieve the main ideas.
Nina began with a simple fear. Maybe I am bad at listening. Her daily hour was not worthless. It gave her contact with English. Now she can give part of that hour a clearer purpose.
Choose material you can mostly follow. Listen first for meaning. Find one gap. Check the English text. Notice the reason. Return to sound. Then respond in your own words.
Keep two lanes open. Longer, easier listening for experience, and short, focused listening for repair.
And avoid the extremes. Subtitles are neither a permanent home nor an enemy. Easy material is not a failure. Repetition is useful when each pass has a job.
Daniel, what should Nina do tomorrow morning?
Find one short piece of English she actually wants to understand. Listen once without text and write one sentence about the main idea.
Small enough to begin tonight, useful enough to repeat tomorrow.
If this lesson helped, subscribe to Dear English Radio and stay with us for the next letter.
Good night, Nina.
And good night to everyone listening.